So, having owned this bike for right at a year now, I can definitely say that I enjoy getting on this bike today every bit as much as I did when I first bought it. It is just such an awesome bike to ride. Once you get used to the fact that it's such a heavy animal, and you learn to ride it the way it wants to be ridden, it's really quite maneuverable. On the road, it eats up the canyons like my super bikes used to do. I just feel that it is always grounded. It always gives me a feeling of comfort when I'm in the twisties or going fast around corners. It stops well for being a big beast. The acceleration obviously is just fantastic with this boxer motor. Smooth, controlled acceleration at all times. And it's just a joy to ride. One of the things I did a couple of months back is I replaced the Michelin Anakis that come stock on the bike, 80-20 type of tires, and I put the Anaki Wilds on. They're called a 50-50 tire, and I'll tell you, even on the street they handle excellent on corners as far as grip. I never feel like the back end is getting trying to wash out on me or getting squirrely. But where they really excel, obviously, is on the dirt, and that is no joke. They really, really handle well on the dirt. On the street, I noticed when I first put them on that when you lean the bike, once you get past a couple of degrees of lean angle, the bike wants to continue to lean over once it rolls onto those outer knobbies. But that's, I think, to be expected on a set of knobby, dirt bikey type of tires. But nothing that's, uncontrollable. I found it really easy to ride it regardless of that. And I've got about probably 1,000 miles on them right now, and they're still looking really good. They claim to be upwards of a 6,000 mile tire. We'll see. I'm expecting 4. I'll be happy with that. So if I get 4, I'll be happy. So I'm heading out to look at a piece of property right now that I'm interested in maybe purchasing. And fortunately for me, that property is about half on the highway and then half on dirt road, so I'll be able to get some off-road ride in a little bit here. So let me see. Right now I've got almost 9,000 miles on the bike. It is it's March 1st right now in Colorado. Well, it's March 1st everywhere, obviously. But I bought this bike. I picked it up last March. And obviously with the winter, I've had a lot of down days. So most of that 9,000 miles was put on in the first 6 or 7 months of owning the bike. And it's just that comfortable. I'm 6'4". I've owned bikes for 30 years now, mostly race bikes and Harleys. I got rid of my Harley Street Glide when I got this, and I will say that I've never been able to ride so many miles without stop on a motorcycle as I have with this guy here. The Harley, I might be able to sit on it for 2 hours before I just needed to stop and stretch my legs, take a rest. But man, I don't know. I haven't found my limits yet with this. I guess fill-ups would be my limit. When it's time to put gas in, I got to stop. Other than that, I can just go forever. I haven't really found too many quirks with the bike or too many issues. I know it's a BMW and it's a European bike, but I have not had a single problem with it, other than, and what other people have mentioned before, the BMW Motorrad Navigator GPS. Not a real fan. I took it down to Arizona a couple of months ago to ride the BDR, and it just went nuts on me. It didn't work the entire time. And before that, trying to load my files from Garmin Map Source, or sorry, Basecamp, onto it with my Mac wasn't happening. I bought 100 different cables and tried as I might. It just never happened. I actually ended up buying a cheap little laptop, a Windows laptop, just for using my GPS and loading files onto it. Oh well, you know, the things you do to own a European bike, right? Otherwise, though, I've not had any issues with it. I did buy the, you know, like the purchase protection plan where I get all free services. If I bend a wheel hitting a rock or something, they'll replace it for free. And yeah, it costs a little bit of extra money, but I think in the end it's worth it, because when it's time to get the service done, I just drop it off at the shop and they take care of it, and that's that. Low stress, and I really like it that way. So a couple of other features. The seats, again, I'm 6'4". The rider's seat has two adjustments, a high-low in the front and a high-low in the back. I have mine high in the front, low in the back, so that it sits me a little bit more upright, so I'm not you know, leaning on the tank and get that hot ass after 3 hours, you know, of pulling on your pants against your skin. I put some risers, 2-inch risers on. Did not need to change anything with the cables, so that was nice. Let's see, what else have I done? That's really about it for comfort stuff. Took my back seat off and I put a you know, just a luggage rack, since my girlfriend now has her own bike and we don't have to go 2 up anymore, which is nice. A couple other mods, you know, I bought the adventure package, which I think is totally worth it. The crash bars, and having the pannier bars on the back, or a pannier rack. It's just really nice to have all that already on the bike. I bought some Lone Rider engine guard or crash guard bags. And I keep all my stuff on there that I want to have with me no matter what, like my tools, my air compressor, tire patch kit, stuff like that. So if I'm not running my panniers, I don't have to take a backpack. I've just got it all here on the bike at all times. I really love the suspension on it, the electronic suspension. I generally ride mine in max height, but it does have a minimum height for shorter riders and an auto, so that you can, you know, if you're riding just 1 up, no bags or anything like that, and then you put somebody on the back and you put some bags on, the bike will automatically adjust the suspension for you. And right now I'm in road mode, which I use mostly while I'm driving around town. The modes are really easy to cycle between. You just have this little button right here, hit the mode button, and you can let me shift real quick, and you just hit the mode button however many times you want. You got Dynamic Pro, Enduro Pro, Road, and then let off the throttle and it will switch. I think there's 7 possible, and you can run up to 5 or something like that, but Dynamic Pro over Road is really, you know, it changes your throttle response, and the fuel mapping on the bike. And I'm going to tell you, it makes a huge difference as far as when you twist that throttle, how much more quickly the bike responds in Dynamic or Dynamic Pro over just the road setting. So there's 2 Pro positions. You have Dynamic and Enduro, and you also have Dynamic Pro and Enduro Pro. In the Pro settings, you get to go in and choose some of your settings. For instance, in Enduro, you can choose to turn off your ABS. You can turn on or off wheelie control. There's a couple of different settings to where you can either let the bike wheelie all you want. There's a limited setting to where the bike is only going to let the wheelie come up so much, and then it's just not going to let it go any further than that. And then you also have a setting where you just won't wheelie, so you don't have to worry about the throttle punching it too hard and that wheel coming up off the ground. Because without the wheelie cut off, it actually will wheelie pretty easy. But so I'm in Dynamic Pro right now, and it'll actually get pretty good. For a 600-pound, adventure bike with knobby tires on it. So it does have the power when you need it, which is really cool. Yeah, so just all in all, heated handlebars, heated seats. It's just a comfortable bike to ride, even with the stock seat. I've got a Saddleman seat coming, just because I wanted the ability to go just a few extra miles when I'm doing those long tours on the road. We'll see what happens when that gets here. It's been on order for about 10 weeks, but you know how it is. Everything's just on back order here nowadays. But I'm looking forward to getting that and seeing what kind of difference it makes and how many miles I can put on in a day. So, yeah, overall, I can't be happier with this bike. Even for jutting around town, it's still pretty fun. I never feel like, oh, this thing is just too much, too big, too top heavy or whatever for me. So, yeah, it's been a great ride. 1 year in, and I'm still tickled about it. I love riding it. I ride it as much as I possibly can. Yeah. So I'm about to hit the dirt up here shortly, and then we'll talk about some of the dirt performance of this bike. Okay, so made it out to some dirt, and one thing I'll say about the bike is, once you get used to being on this great big huge high-centered bike, it's actually, I think the weight maybe even makes it kind of more stable on the dirt. I was a little intimidated by it at first. I've ridden motocross bikes before, and I'm a pretty skilled rider, but this thing just seems so monstrous that I was really worried about it going around corners and stuff like that. Once I got comfortable with standing up in the center of the bike and leaning the bike through the corners instead of doing the race bike thing with, which is leaning your body off the bike. It was kind of counterintuitive for me. But yeah, once I got used to just sitting on top of it, standing on top of it, and letting the bike kind of go where it wants to a little bit. Oh, I just missed my turn. I really started to feel comfortable with it. And, like I got the back wheel locked up right now. Comfortable with it going where it wants to go. And it really feels grounded. So I'm in Dynamic Pro. I should probably change that mode to Enduro. So to change modes, all you do is just push the mode button here, and then once it gets to the mode you want, you let off the throttle, and it will change modes all by itself. So that's kind of cool. You can do it on the fly. The only thing you can't do is you can't do it while you've got the cruise control on. It won't let you do that because you have to close the throttle all the way before it'll change modes. But enduro mode, you can't use cruise control. So if you're on a road like this where you're just going for quite a while, oh well, you just gotta keep your hand on the throttle, you know. Yeah, it's no big deal though. It also limits your wheelie capability, I believe, or maybe I have it set that way, but either way, I like where it's set at. It works well for me. This stuff out here in the Colorado high country, you know, it's just loose sand sprinkled over hard packed dirt. So it's really it's tough to get traction sometimes on this stuff. But the bike does pretty well. I wasn't sure about a shaft drive bike. It's the first one I've ever owned. I always kind of preferred chains, but I will say it's nice not to have to do any maintenance. The only issue would be is if I was to get into some trouble somewhere out in the back country and nobody around, I have no idea how to fix a broken shaft drive. Don't really know that you can, you know. So, but other than that, it's really been nice. You know, there's a reason why the GS is such a popular bike and has been for so long. So I'm sure BMW, they know what they're doing with regard to that. A couple other things about the bike. I don't know if you can see it, but you'll notice on the brake lever, it also has basically an extension or a little block that flips up out of the way when you're on the road, and you can pop it down there when you're going to do some serious off-road riding, and you want to be able to get to your rear brake without having to reach for it too much. It does have the electronic assist shift up and down. To shift up, you just keep the throttle where it is. And I found it actually works better if you're accelerating, as opposed to just light on the throttle. Like if I want to upshift, I will start to accelerate as I grab for my shifter or as I click up on it. I just find that it shifts a lot smoother that way. Downshifting, you just let off the throttle, almost like a blip, except you don't have to pull in your clutch, and it works really well. First to second upshifting, not so much. I don't use it very often. I usually just use the clutch because it's a really hard thump into second gear, and I don't know, it's probably okay like that, but it just feels to me like it's probably doing some fair amount of damage, you know. But yeah, overall, I would definitely suggest, if you know, BMW, when you buy their bikes, they give you whatever tires come on it. You don't get to choose a knobby or a slick or, you know, a road tire or whatever. You just get what you get. So yeah, I put the Anarchy Wilds. A lot of people love the TK80s, which, you know, I guess are fantastic tires too. I can't really say enough about these Anarchy Wilds though. I went down to Arizona, like I said, a couple of months back, and did probably an equal share of backcountry discovery route and highway, and these tires did equally well on both mediums. And a little pricey. I think I paid with the installation, you know, I just took it to the dealer and had them do it. I didn't pull the wheels off, so that was probably cost me a little bit extra, but with the installation it was right around the $500 mark. Pricey, but totally worth it when it comes to the kind of traction that I'm getting off of these tires in the dirt. Really happy with them. So yeah, anyway, that's my kind of review of the bike after owning it for 1 year now, and having put 9,000 miles on it in that year. That's a significant amount of riding. I just sold my 2011 Street Glide. I had it for 10 years and I had 10,000 miles on it. So, you know, to put 9,000 miles on a bike in basically a 7-month riding season. That's saying something. So yeah, if you're looking to maybe get into one of these GS's, and you're not a skilled adventure rider, as I am not, hopefully this will give you a little something to chew on and think about. And I can tell you that as a skilled cyclist or motorcycle rider, it has not taken me a whole lot of time to adjust to this different style of riding, and I'm really happy with it. So yeah, if you like this video, please give it a like. Maybe subscribe if you want to. I'm kind of new in the YouTube business, but I'm trying to kind of start my channel up here and get a little something out of it. And I would really appreciate any comments you might have as to the content, or if you have any questions about the bike itself, please feel free to get a hold of me, and I'd be happy to hear from everybody. So yeah, thanks again, and hope you guys come back and visit my channel regularly.